Welcome to Secrets of Attracting Men. There are six parts to this attracting series, and today I will be talking about part one. And part one is just you want to know how dating and attraction really work. So it's something that you want to know about it. And this part series one, I will discuss some of the facts to know how the attraction works. And do you ever feel deep down like you're lagging behind where you thought you'd be by now in terms of men and relationships? Do you try to be yourself with men only to have them eventually lose interest? Do you feel sometimes as though your only option is to follow rules with men or to play hard to get, even though you wish this wasn't the case? I've been there, I've done that. Do you know how to attract men, but not attract the right man for you? Or maybe you have attracted the right man in the past, but you didn't recognize him as the right man for you, and so you let him go. And you are now wondering if you'll ever have a chance with him again, or you'll ever find another Mr. Right for you. That's a lot of questions, I know, but from my experience, most of it, not all women, have experienced at least one of these heart-wrenching situations firsthand, and usually more like two or three. It's not surprising that so many of us feel screwed up about men and love. Lots of Lots of women feel as though we can no longer trust our own gut instincts. Not the case. We've been so scrambled over time from mixed messages, men who don't know what they want, and great relationships that without explanation turn sour over time, that most of us would love nothing more than a little common sense, a little advice, and a few practical tips that can help us all to transform our love lives. Get us in touch with the radiant, beautiful, irresistible woman who lives inside all of us and allows us to take the pressure off ourselves and just enjoy where we are and who we are right now. By the way, have you ever noticed that when you're looking for love, it very rarely actually shows up? But when you get busy and focus on you and your own life and really get enthusiastic about yourself and just about forget about looking for love, someone out there will notice you how happy you are and want a piece of that for themselves. It's ironic, isn't it? The next few days for are all about um, letting go of the limiting beliefs that are crippling in your dating life, in relationships, and about getting in touch with what really works in terms of life, love, and pure simple attraction. A large part of this course is going to be focused on enlightenment. This isn't about playing games or manipulating people. I found that when you rely on rules and games to get interest or get men, what ends up happening is this: you're flat out exhausted from trying to stay in the relationship. You've got a relationship that's good on the surface, but based on lies and games. And sooner or later, it all goes up in smoke. And then it's back to square one. You deserve a lot better in this. I promise you. And frankly, the fact that you want to improve your situation proves that you're too smart to rely on games. Instead, how about this? You instinctively know how to act in any situation around men. You never have to consult a rule book or memorize guidelines. You're always able to be authentically you. Your relationship keeps getting better and better. And you never have to experience the awful phenomenon known as he just lost interest somehow, ever again. My guess that is you'd be pretty interested in getting those results for yourself. So here's the deal. Over the next couple of days, we are going to peel the shutters back and shed some light on the simple but deadly mistakes that most women make when they're trying to attract men, so that you're always in control of what happens to you. And you're always empowered to make the best decisions for yourself when it comes to men and relationships. Most of these mistakes are common, and most women think they're actually being attractive when they're making them. We're also going to talk about what you can do to practically attract more and better men, the things you can do to attract the men of your choice. Means no more accidentally attracting guys you're not really that interested. We're also going to be spending some time focusing on the male brain itself. Things like how to take a man off his pedestal, what makes a man into his mysteriously masculine self, the differences between men and women and what this means for you, the principles of catching men and the principles of keeping those men right where you want them. It's all about attracting men that you find attractive and then keeping the best one for yourself in a relationship of intimacy and happiness that just keeps on getting better. Not a hint of stress and anxiety or settling for less than relationship inside. First, though, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever thought yourself, sure, I'm a pretty confident woman, and you find it easy to flirt with that some woman called frogs, the men you're okay with practicing on, but you're not actually interested in. But the moment that someone you genuinely find attractive shows up, all of a sudden that nerve and all courage just go right out the window, and you find yourself getting tongue-tied and nervous or acting strange and stilled. This guy, this what women do when they feel less than on some level. They end up putting guys on pedestal and unknowingly sabotaging their success. After all, it's pretty difficult to create quality, loving, intimate relationship if the whole time you're feeling as though he's somehow socially superior to you, and almost as he outranks you. This is what I'm talking about when I say take the men off the pedestal. Get into your head that they're nothing to be afraid of. The best way to do that, I find, is to give yourself the right to be a little irreverent of what other people, especially men, both think and want. That's not to say that you should turn into one of those bitter, jaded type women who think that they always come first, or that I own relationship, or who cares what anyone else thinks. But let's be honest here. There are many women out there who feel deep down as though a relationship is what they really need in order to be fulfilled and happy as a woman. Not realizing that it's exactly this attitude that gets in the way of creating healthy, happy relationships with top quality men. They end up putting too much emphasis on what guys want and need, and it ends up repelling the best ones. They end up forgetting about who they are and what they want, and focus entirely on the relationship and what he wants. In the process, leaving things like their own lives, their own interests, and their own friends and family completely off the radar. This is unhealthy and will effectively cripple any relationship you attempt to have with men. There's a better way, and I'm privileged to show this to you. The next couple of days will go far towards providing you with the knowledge of how men work and what you need in order to create and maintain great relationships. And also, one more thing, it's also time to contradict some of the damage that's been caused by all the rubbish that's currently in circulation about attracting men. I bet you now that I'm talking about here. I bet you I know what I'm talking about here. All those dating gurus, information portals, online ebooks, and downloadable interviews that talk about rules for attracting men. For example, don't make eye contact, never have sex on the first date, don't be too funny or witty around him until you figure out what he wants. Overweight has no place in the dating game. Go with the flow and let him set the tone. This is crazy. Not only it is massively limiting, but these kinds of beliefs are definitely not conducive to the sort of healthy, fun dating attitudes that will support your lifestyle as a smart, sexy, irresistible woman, and that will attract a great man into your life. Playing by the rules does in fact attract some men, but it attracts a certain type of man who is generally not the kind of man you actually want to attract. Side effects of using the rules to get a man include low grade relationship quality, feelings of insecurity, emptiness, and constant feelings of satisfaction. And now, let's get down to the real deal. It's time to take a look at what you'll be learning over the next week. Over the first 3 days of these videos, we are going to be looking in depth at three of the most important principles of successful dating and relationships. And in the final days, we'll look at how to apply those principles to your dates and to your relationships. These are the principles. Principle 1: men and women are different. Always remember that. We're not equal, we're different. Principle number 2: men are attracted to women because they are women. Principle number 3: you are not owed a relationship, you earn one. The issue with these three principles is that first, they sound pretty self-evident. Most women respond by thinking, yeah, but I already know all of that. Tell me something I don't know. And they fail to realize that there's a big gap between knowing something and actually applying it. Good one. For example, I bet we all know someone who's known for talking about how they're going to do something, going on a diet, working out, quitting smoking, or what have you. But after a couple of weeks have gone by, most of those good resolutions have gone right out the window, and that person has gone back to their old lifestyle. They know what they should be doing to get the results they want, but they're just not actually doing it. A perfect example of this is New Year's resolution. How many of those get stuck on long term? This videos will teach you first what you need to know and also how to apply that knowledge to your own life. So let's look at these three principles in just a little more detail. This will give you a better understanding of how important they are and an expectation of what the next 3 days will come. Afterwards, we'll take a brief look at what we'll be learning in the remaining days of the 6-part mini video series. So stay tuned for the principles, principle 1 and principle 2 and principle 3. Thank you for listening.